So, especially in hip hop nowadays, there's a lot of discussion about industry plants. The phrase comes with a lot of negative connotation, and most people tend to dislike them. However, I see some people saying there's nothing wrong with industry plants, like they're just people who happen to get a boost from a label. Nothing wrong with that, right? While I don't outright despise the idea of an industry plant, I do have some problems with them that I'll try to explain in this video using examples of people who are pretty clearly plants. I have nothing against them personally, but I do feel that they're a negative thing for music in general. So, an industry plant is someone who presents themselves and their growth as completely organic when in reality they have a major label stimulating everything behind the scenes. Again, some people don't think it matters if someone is a plant, but in my opinion it does, because think about it. An artist that blows up before they get a major label deal, right? The label tends to acknowledge what made them popular in the first place and where their appeal originally came from, so that artist will sort of have a higher amount of creative freedom, because if they were able to come up by themselves, the label might have a bit more faith in them to continue to perform well. However, with an industry plant, the label is basically controlling every aspect of the artist's music and their image. Fans tend to idolize an artist that they like, so if the artist has no control over what they make, their only purpose is to be a cash cow for the label. Obviously, nothing about that is genuine. Really, almost anyone could be picked up by the industry, have their voice auto-tuned well over great production, and become big without any real loyal fan base. But it takes a certain type of person to be on the grind for a long time practicing and perfecting their craft. A person who, even if their music doesn't really mean much, genuinely does care about what they make. They appreciate their fanbase, and their fanbase genuinely cares about them. And personally, I don't think that people should idolize random artists at all, but it's inevitable that they will, so isn't that type of person a much better person to idolize than a label-controlled brand that isn't really passionate about anything? Again, let me emphasize that I am not saying industry plants are bad people or immoral by heart. I mean, if people are offered the chance to have a prosperous career, they're probably gonna take it, right? I'm just saying I don't really think these people deserve to be in the position they're in compared to non-industry plants, and I think it's a negative thing for music in general. I'll try to use some examples to enhance my point. So we got this emo kid Jumex, I think it's pronounced. It's ironic that this dude is an industry plant because the guy looks like a walking fern. This YouTuber Progress made a really informative video about how Jumex is a plant. I'll link that in the description. He kinda just popped off out of absolutely nowhere. No one knew about his older stuff, but then he just kinda like became big for some reason. If you listen to his older music and then his newer stuff, there's a random huge increase in production quality of the songs and budget going into the music videos. Even though no one knew who he was, he suddenly started working with huge names in the industry. There's also evidence of view botting. The point is, he's an obvious industry plant. He, or at least his label, deleted all his older music before the strange budget increase, but one of his newer songs sounds like a copy of Lil Peep, and the other one sounds like Scarlord. You could be sad, 'cause baby I'm a loader, yeah. Wow, I mean, that's really sad. How can you say that that isn't genuine sadness? Again, maybe Jumex is a good guy, I don't know, but regardless, he has no control over anything he does. I really don't want the industry to be filled with artists whose only passion comes from how much money they can make for the record label. The whole thing of a person getting huge out of seemingly nowhere with high production quality and them strongly lacking in older music or history, yeah, that's a pretty obvious way to tell if someone's a plant. It makes it pretty clear, and it's a trend you'll notice with these other examples. Another dishonest industry plant is Baby Goth. I can picture the 50-year-old label executive thinking, oh, well, emo hip-hop is trending, so goth is like emo, right? And baby is a word, so Baby Goth. Again, Progress made a video about her. I guess he's good at this kind of stuff, and don't worry, I'm not just gonna rip him off for the rest of the video. He did a lot of digging and found out that even though she claims she only has a few songs out and that her first song just happened to blow up, she's been doing this for a while. And before her quote-unquote first song even came out, she somehow did work with Lil Xan and featured on a Trippie Redd album. Like, yeah, expect us to believe that. I don't know how her or her label expected anyone to believe, hey guys, this is my first song ever, and I just decided to get face tattoos before I even became a musician because I just knew I was gonna blow up from the start. Speaking of that, I feel like that's a pretty good way to tell if someone's a plant as well. Like, if you get face tattoos before even having like 6 fans, like both Jumex and Baby Goth did, yeah, okay, buddy. You were just so confident in yourself that you limited all your job options for the rest of your life because you just knew it would work out. Progress made a really good point about this.
Her message of positivity and modesty turned into money, guns, chains, sex appeal, and drugs. all within the span of a year.
Because the label is taking in people that aren't really that talented and trying to make them famous, they're gonna try to latch onto any trend that's popping right now. Nor the artist or the label really cares about delivering any message with substance. Their sole motivation is money. Don't get me wrong, I find a lot of music that doesn't have a message fun to listen to, but I don't really feel that industry plants bring anything good to the music industry. It's not a very good influence on the youth, and it's taking the spotlight from people who actually deserve to be in their position. And it's just like, why would I want to listen to someone who's clearly trying to hide their background? It's deceitful, so no matter what they rap or sing about, I'm not going to take it seriously. Another plant, and this is one that I've seen less discussion about, is Toliver. The only thing he's known for is having a huge role in the song Can't Say on Travis Scott's Astroworld album. But the thing is, no one knows who he is even after such a massive feature. No one knows who he is now, but before Travis Scott's album, bro, absolutely no one knew who he was. He had zero buzz even in his own city before that feature. How would Travis Scott have found him? And it's definitely not a coincidence that the day after Astroworld dropped, Don signed to Travis's label, acting like he wasn't already signed. I don't really have a problem with this guy, but there's always something I'll respect more about a person with a real come up than a fake one. You know who would be most likely to feature an industry plant like Don Toliver on their album? Another industry plant. Yeah, that's right, bitch. Travis Scott is an industry plant, and I like his music, but he just is. He's one of the cases where, yeah, he's a plant, but his music is actually like high quality, and he's not just writing trends, which is, I guess, why he's so big now. If you want to read more about why he's a plant, I'm leaving a link to this article in the description. Yes, the title is really bad, and I do not agree with it, but there is a large portion where the author talks about how Travis's story of his come up just does not add up. The way Travis described the situation, he made it seem like he was going to LA to stay with a friend. No connections, no money, no nothing, just starting a new life in LA, and then suddenly when his plane landed, he just started getting texts from T.I. asking him to hop on a track. Then lands himself a joint with Kanye soon after. Okay, sure, dude. In the interview cited in the article, the interviewer was trying to politely ask Travis the question of like, how did you get such a big break so fast with no connections? And Travis basically just justified it by saying, I guess it's just like talent. Talent, bro. It was just talent, bro. Him saying this pretty much accidentally revealed that he was a plant. Any rapper with an organic come up won't just justify their growth with talent. They're gonna tell you that they had to ruthlessly self-promote, and they had to do small shows, and they had to consistently work on growing their audience and keeping their current fans. Saying your entire career in an industry so competitive succeeded because of talent is the most blatant admission of some dishonest shit going on I've ever seen. Good job, Travis, for accidentally exposing yourself. Again, I like his music, and the dude actually seems like a good guy, but there's always something I cannot respect about covering up your past and being shady about it. If he were just honest and said that he happened to have connections in the industry, I would respect it a lot more, and I wouldn't have a problem with it, but the fact that he's trying to cover it up is what really gets me. This means that the stuff he speaks about in his music can't necessarily even be taken seriously because he's willing to lie about one of the most important aspects of his life. So I think now you kind of understand why I'm not a big fan of industry plants. As I've said already probably 5 times, I have nothing against them as people necessarily, but I'm just against the idea of one in general. I kind of want to show you someone who I think is an industry plant. I haven't heard too much discussion about this, but from watching an interview, it seems very likely to me. Icy Narco is a rapper who looks a lot like Lil Pump, let's be honest. Everything about his aesthetic just screams wannabe SoundCloud rapper that's really trying to blow up as hard as they can. I might have a video on him in the future because there's a lot of stuff I did research about. I actually discovered that he and Lil Pump used to have the same manager, which is why I guess the manager is using the same strategy that he did to get Lil Pump to blow up. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, he talks about how he got signed to 10K Projects, which is a pretty big label, and his story about how it happened is a little bit vague.
Alright, so pretty much I had saved some money, planned a trip to LA, and I came out here with nothing, pretty much by myself. The shit was it was a hard-ass journey. Like, I faced a lot of obstacles to even get to the position where I'm at. I felt like stopping and quitting, just even like taking my life at a lot of times. But I pushed through all the hard times. 1 month after being out here in LA and just making music and working, I ended up getting signed to 10K.
Okay, so here's another story where he just goes to LA with nothing and then happens to hit a big label deal within a month, but just from working hard and being talented. And it's really not helped by the fact that he's going for that SoundCloud rapper, Instagram celebrity aesthetic. No, he doesn't have the face tattoos, but everything else pretty much matches up to that kind of look. He's Latino, so his hair is naturally pretty straight. He probably just has dreadlocks because that's what his label tells him is going to make him blow up. It's little things like that where you can tell maybe the label's making a bit more decisions than the actual artist. I've clarified so many times that I don't have problems with the people themselves, but I actually do have problems with Icy Narco because he's friends with Kid Boo, and if you know anything about me, you know I fucking hate Kid fucking Boo. So to summarize my point, I don't think industry plants are a good thing for music because the label tends to control the aesthetic and message of everything the artist does. If the person were honest about being a plant, then I would have no problem with it, but again, most of these people try to cover it up or they're very vague about their past, which is just deceitful and it makes it hard to take anything they say seriously. A come-up is a very important aspect of an artist's career, and if they're willing to lie about that, then I don't really trust them as people.